Welcome to Rewatch-and-Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. Today's episode is Naruto Chunin Exam Arc, Episode 20. A new chapter begins, the Chunin Exam. Episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happened in the episode. So the episode begins with Naruto waking up and having breakfast before joining the team to wait for Kakashi. He greets Sakura excitedly and doesn't even want to speak to Sasuke. And then Kakashi finally arrives late and they proceed to complete various missions. And Naruto screws up every single one of these missions because he's so focused on one-upping Sasuke that he doesn't actually do his job properly. Example, first one's weed picking. He picks the actual plants just so his greenery pile is higher than Sasuke's. Then they're cleaning cans out of a river, and he ends up being so gung-ho about it that he ends up falling and almost goes over a waterfall if not for the fact that Sasuke ends up saving him, which of course makes him butt sore. So then when he gets to the dog walking mission, he takes the biggest one, which then drags him through a trap field, causing multiple explosions and him to sit there smoking at the end while the others just kind of look at him like, you're a bit troublesome. Anyways, Kakashi decides that's enough missions for the day. He goes to give his report. Sasuke decides to go home. And Sakura tries to get a date with Sasuke, who basically rejects her once again, telling her that if she has time to waste on him, she should try training because she's even weaker than Naruto, which just like hurts her in her soul. And then Naruto is kind of standing there when a square box trying to look like a rock comes up. He runs away from it. It chases him back and forth until he finally confronts and says that there are no perfectly square rocks and they do not have perfectly round eye holes in them. This is when Konohamaru and his two friends, Moegi and Udon, appear, and they're all now wearing goggles just like Naruto, imitating him. And Naruto, because Sakura's there, tries to act cool, and Konohamaru makes a comment about how he's been acting cold recently, and then he says that Naruto said he would play ninja with them that day, and Sakura comes over and is basically like, why would a ninja need to play ninja? But personally, I think that that's just adorable because, he's got his little fan club wearing his old goggles. So, they want to play with him and he's willing to play with them, and I think that that's very sweet. But either way, Konohamaru gets the wrong idea, thinks he might be dating Sakura, and Naruto, because he does have a crush on her, doesn't deny it, so he ends up getting hit. Then Konohamaru, to defend, his personal little hero there, starts calling her an ugly wench, and she then hits him, starts to leave when he makes a comment about her broad forehead and asking if she's really a woman, and she turns around extremely menacingly and they all run, and he eventually ends up running into Kankuro, who's there with Tamari, and they note that, they're not even from their village, and Naruto tries to get Kankuro to put Konohamaru down because he's picked him up off the ground, saying how he hates kids and little brats. Naruto tries to attack him, but is tripped by his jutsu, and then tries to attack again, but before he can, Sasuke, who's been lounging in a tree nearby, throws a rock at Kankuro's hand, making him drop Konohamaru, and basically Kankuro gets more upset about this, saying once again how much he hates kids, and decides he's going to attack and challenge Sasuke. He even takes his main weapon off of his back, Crow. However, Gaara is hanging from a tree nearby, a different one than Sasuke's hanging, lounging in, and he tells Kankuro to stop, And this is where Kankuro and Tamara, of course, show obvious fear towards Gaara, and they do give pause, but that's when the scene shifts to, throughout the episode, we've seen a couple of scenes, Kakashi delivering the report and Iruka inquiring about Naruto's health, a bird flying in the sky while all of the Jonin senseis, Kurenai, and oh my goodness, why am I blanking on the other one? It's Asuma, sorry. Asuma and Kurenai and even Kakashi notice this bird. So the very last scene of this episode is those Jonin senseis alongside other Jonin being gathered, and the Hokage giving an announcement that in 7 days the Chunin exam will begin, and that's the cliffhanger we end on. So now that we've been reminded about what happened in the episode, we'll rank the episode first on the mostly objective ranking list, which doesn't include emotion, but bias and judgment can apply, hence why it's mostly objective, and then the personal ranking list, which is based on my opinion and entertainment value. So, starting on our mostly objective ranking, we have our multi-arc supporting character introductions. We have Udon Issei and Moegi Kazamatsuri, who are Konohamaru's friends, and they have joined his gang, and they also are emulating Naruto to a certain extent by also wearing goggles, just like Konohamaru is wearing goggles, to imitate what Naruto used to do before he got his headband. And then we also are introduced to the Sand siblings, which are Gaara, Kankuro, and Tamari. And that's 5 characters with 3 points each, brings us up to 15 positive points, but there were some negatives. So the first one was the negative messaging or behavior. This one I did have a little bit of conflict with. On the one hand, if you are foreign soldiers entering into like a different country's base, picking on the children or the natives of that base, probably not a great idea. That's probably pretty negative. And it is fair that Naruto and them would be immediately hostile to these foreigners because they do not know why they are on the base. The way I'm thinking of it, like generally, if it was a normal village, there's going to be visitors, people you may not recognize. So being immediately hostile or even someone just being disrespectful when they're visiting another place, it would be ho hum, who, what can you do about it type feeling. So not super negative. But because it's a shinobi village, I'm thinking of it more like it's an armed village. It's like a keep. It's like a army base of sorts. So having like foreign, even if they're not adversaries, but just foreign soldiers walking around your village attacking your children would probably be very upsetting. And you, as soldiers of that village, are looking at these foreigners wandering around unsupervised, wondering why they're there. You might immediately be a little bit hostile and suspicious of them, and that just will cause the conflict to escalate higher than it should. So ultimately, I do think it is a negative thing. So I did take the negative messaging or behavior for basically picking on children is wrong no matter what. So that's where I took the points. But lumped in with that is kind of the fact that they are foreign soldiers in an armed city or village attacking the children of that village, and that is a very, very bad thing to do. So, -2 points for that. And then we have our weaker dislikable supporting character, excluding characters meant to be disliked. And at first, again, this is where the judgment and bias once again applies. Kankuro. I do not like the character of Kankuro. I don't think he ever grows on me at any point in the series. And while in this initial introduction he is sort of meant to be an adversary or an enemy of sorts, therefore potentially meant to be disliked. He does go through the same redemption arc all of the Sand siblings will in the future, and then is seen as an allied character throughout pretty much the rest of the series when they do recur. So, in that sense, I feel like he's not meant to be disliked because he gets his redemption arc and then he is an allied, a supporting character. And even at this point, technically, the Sand Village is still an ally, though spoilers for the future, they may not be as loyal of an ally as one might think. Um, but anyways, because I think he is meant to be liked in the future, and I just never ended up liking him in the future, even after the redemption arc, and I just don't like him as a character, and I think he's just a weak and dislikable character, I took 4 points for it, which leaves this episode as a 9 out of 10. And of course, it is the only episode so far in this arc, so it is in first place. A new chapter begins, the tuning exam. And then we have my personal rankings. So, start of the episode, we get to see some daily slice of life with some comedic factor from Naruto messing up all of the missions. And it is just like a fun, slower paced little snapshot of their life, which I do enjoy. So I did like that. Then, you have Konohamaru, who I have mentioned in the last arc many times, is absolutely adorable. And now he has friends, and they're still mimicking Naruto and wanting to play ninja with him, and he's willing to play ninja with them, even though he's already a ninja. And I just think it's adorable and wholesome and sweet, and so I like that too. Like I said, I didn't like Kankuro and him picking on children, and even just like when you consider the fact that it's an armed city and they are foreign soldiers technically, and they are coming in and attacking the children of the city that they're visiting, children who are not soldiers in this case. Well, like Naruto is, but he's picking on Konohamaru, and he is not a soldier yet. So I just thought that rubbed me the wrong way. And like I said, I don't like Kankuro, but caveat to that, I adore Gaara. He is. So if you've watched this channel for a while, you will know that I have very strong biases to random characters for no other reason than that character's charisma got me. Like in One Piece, it's Buggy. No reason to like him at all, and yet, favorite character. And in Naruto, for me, that is 100% Gaara. I have no reason to like Gaara. I really don't. I think he's a little bit crazy. He's weird. Like, if I look at him objectively, I'm like, I shouldn't like this person. And yet, he has been my desktop wallpaper for years. Like, I have plushies, I have figurines. I love this character, and I have no reason why his charisma just got me. And so this is his first appearance, and he shows up to stop Kankuro, and he looks cool hanging from the tree, and he makes a cool entrance, and he's just my bias character in Naruto 1000%. Favorite character. I have no reason why though, because honestly, if I looked at it objectively, I don't think I'd like the character at all. Like, I have no reason why he's my favorite. He just is. And so, charisma of the character got me, but this is the first episode with Gaara, so I can't give it a low score. And the only thing I really disliked about the episode was his brother, and I think he dislikes his brother too at this point, so we're lining up there. Either way, I did give it a 9 out of 10. I didn't think that there was enough plot progression and things happening really to give it a 10, but I didn't dislike anything in the episode. I thought it was fun. Again, Konohamaru is adorable. Gaara is my favorite character ever. And a 9 was literally the lowest I could think of that I could reasonably give it because Gaara is there. So that brings my personal ranking to, in first, a new chapter begins, the tuning exam. And our mostly objective ranking has, of course, Prologue Land of Waves arc in first place, as it's the only completed arc to date. And it'll be another 48 weeks before we get this one completed, so that's going to be holding true for at least that long. And then Tuning Exam arc, we have 9 out of 480 on both lists. Therefore, with that, we have now rewatched and ranked Naruto Chunin Exams Arc. Episode 20, a new chapter begins, the Chunin Exam. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.